with my guns on, so when I reach the other side, I can show what it feels like to die. Bury me with my guns on, so when I'm cast out of the sky, I can shoot it down right between the eyes. Bury me with my guns on, so when I reach the other side, I can show them what it feels like to die. Bury me with my guns on, so when I'm cast out of the sky, I can shoot the devil right between the eyes.
Hey guys, Gatading here. Today I've got a video in the Object 140 on the map El Alamein, where I try a position that worked pretty well in my Super Conch. You can see that in the video, A Tough Fight. Now I wanted to try this spot since the 140 does not have the gun depression, but we'll get to that in a minute. To start with, we're going to go over the loadout I have for the 140, starting with the ammo, equipment, and consumables. For the ammo, I've got 25 APCR, 25 heat, and no HE. I use a rammer, vents, and stabilizer. And I obviously have the large fire extinguisher, repair kit, and first aid kit. And for the crew, it is 10 skills. Got camo, recon, sixth sense, brothers in arms, situational awareness, safe stowage, repairs, smooth ride, the band-aid on the arm one, and track mechanic. I always forget the name of that one, but yeah, track mechanic is the last one. So we find ourselves in a 4 tier 10 versus 4 tier 10 matchup. All the rest are 9s. Very good match for getting some nice juicy damage. And I go straight for the position right smack in the middle of the map. It looks like it's G6, G5, roughly right around there. And like I said, I used this spot with my Super Conch in a previous video, and it worked out really well. So I want to try it again, see how a Russian medium does with the lack of gun depression, because it's only got 6 degrees as opposed to the 10 degrees that the Super Conch has. Now in the previous video I got a lot of spotting damage out of it. I even did this in the Type 5 and it worked out pretty well. But before I go there, I want to make sure it's safe, because I'm looking at my team and I noticed that not too many of them are in a decent spot to support me. So I want to make sure it's reasonably safe to be there. I get lit and immediately light up the T-49 that spotted me. Request fire on him, and then I drive right over to the position that I want after putting a shot into him, I believe. Yep, there it is. Okay, a little bit of a low roll, but good enough. So I check my surroundings, make sure it's safe to cross this little dip here, and then I go into my area. Now I immediately spot the STB-1 and it looks like a T-10. Yeah, T-10 up on the ridge. So I just try and keep them spotted, minimizing exposure, checking out my gun depression to see what kind of angles I can work with, if I can put damage in or not. So right now all I'm doing is just trying to keep them lit for the tanks that have shots on me. Right there I was laughing a little bit because I have 3 heavy tanks just sitting there looking at me. Pretty intimidating sight to see there. So all I do pretty much for the beginning is the spot. I noticed this guy here is trying to get an angle on me. I don't know if the heavies up on the ridge will have shots on me, so I'm kind of very cautiously poking this guy to try and work him down a bit. First shot damages the tracks, doesn't actually penetrate or detrack him. Second shot hits the fuel tank with a penning shot, obviously. Second shot, or third shot, hits the tracks again, bounce his shot, and then set him on fire. And he uses his fire extinguisher, but I know I can beat his reload, so I fire again, set him on fire, and down he goes. Now I've got this Super Conch looking at me along with the other two heavies. Looks like they're trying to reposition a bit, at least one of them. So I'm just watching to see what they do. Nothing too fancy going on here. Pretty straightforward stuff. I very cautiously poke up. Then I spot that STB-1 again, trying to get my flank. So someone requests fire on him. I immediately focus my attention on him while watching the 103 and the Super Conch right in front of me. Because I don't want to be shooting the STB-1 while taking damage from that Super Conch. Because it does have pretty nice DPM. I'm just working my way up, testing out the ridge, seeing when they'll shoot at me, so I know what my limits are. And looks like I might try and get a shot here. Yep, there it is. I aim a little bit low. I was actually trying to hit the very top of where his spaced armor is on the side of the turret. That would have been my best chance of penning. And I cannot use my Prem rounds, because obviously heat rounds don't work well with spaced armor. It's pretty much an auto bounce, or a block actually is what it technically is. And so I just keep poking, keeping an eye on the STB, keeping an eye on the Super Conch. No one's really on the ridge anymore, so I'm safe to poke for that. Missed my first shot on the STB. Yep, there's the second shot, goes in, somehow damaging his observation device, even though I hit the hull of the tank. So then I look for another shot. Super Conch hits my tracks. So right there I know where my limit is. And then the STB-1 puts a shot into me. So far I've got 7 spotting hits. The fire put me at 16 damage ribbons, even though it's under 10 for the actual penetrating shots. Well under 10, probably about 5. I'm looking to see if I can hit that cupola at that angle for the Super Conch, which I can't. So I divert my attention back to the STB-1, put a shot into him, and down he goes. Now that that side's cleared out, I want to try and change angles for the Super Conch, since he's the biggest threat to me right now. And I want to get up to where those rocks are. That was the overall goal, that first little ridge, so I can be somewhat hold down and have shots on him. But I realize if I go up there, he'll have shots on the back of my tank, so I decided to use the Dead 140 as cover and just kind of poke around a bit and see where a good angle would be to hit him. Now I can't really get a good angle on him, and I back up just in time to only have my tracks take that shot. If I had kept going forward, he probably would have hit my underplate. So I decide not to stay there, since he's actually backing up past that corner to where my team can't shoot him. So I leave that spot and try and find something else to do. I see up in the north that the TD and the medium in A1 are in a little bit of trouble, because it's a 3-on-2 right now. So I want to go over there, take out the medium, take out the heavy, and deal with the other one. Now that Skoda's a little bit out of my range, check my back, make sure no one's about to shoot me. I want to go for him when I notice that the 75 is somewhat in the open and low in health. So I want to put some into him while heading over to the Skoda. First shot on the move, pens him for exactly my average roll. And then I hit him again for the kill. And as I go over to help out the Skoda, I notice I'm being targeted, and I don't know from where. I checked the T10 to see if it's a him. It's actually the 103. Now obviously with the 103 having amazing camouflage, I have no idea where he is. I just know he's somewhere outside of that town. So I want to side scrape off this dead Japanese heavy. And I notice the 430 version 2 is getting ready to poke on me. So I have to keep an eye out on him while bouncing shots from that 103. And I decide that it's probably not a good idea to stay there, So I bounce a shot off him, and then looks like I try and hit that guy. I'm trying to figure out where to go, so I just decided to take another hit from the 103 to get to cover, and then deal with this version 2 one-on-one if I can. Now we're about the same hit points, and we do the same amount of damage, so I want to play it safe and just wait for him to come to me. So I switched to my heat rounds because I'll most likely be shooting at his turret, since he does seem to be playing reasonably smart. And then decide that it's probably not a good idea to just rush in there. I don't do too well when I do that. So I decide to go to the top of this ridge to try and spot out and get some mid-range shots on anyone that's lit if I don't spot anyone. I notice the 103 is somewhat in the open. I have a little bit of a shot, so I just kind of shift my tank over just a touch, and he goes away right when I aim in. I guess my shot, and turns out I hit him, so alright, I'm good with that. Now I notice this medium is the sharpshooter's coming up to help me, so I go back to the version 2. Now I don't want to go straight out there because the sharpshooter has more hit points than I do. And I just noticed he's a VGC guy, so I do a little triple take on him. And I feel good about going in. Since he put one in, I put one in to get the kill. And then we switch our attention over to 103. Now I want to get behind him. He's most likely looking to where I was last spotted. So I'll go to the east side of the town. And the sharpshooter takes the west side and cuts straight through it. Not too much going on for here. It's just going to take a little bit for me to get over there. Check the health of the 103. He's at 600, so he's a 2-shot for me, or a 1 for each of us, depending on how you want to look at it. So the sharpshooter gets his attention. I come in, put one into him, which also tracks him. Sharpshooter gets next to him. I put another one to the other track just in case he's about to repair. And then we do a little double tap on each side to get the kill. Then go straight for the 103. Now he disappears right when we start going towards him, so I want to go right where I'm aiming at the top of that hill to try and get a spot, since it's right in the area where he was last seen, in case he's trying to flank around or run away or anything like that. But the BGC guy spots him. They start trading. Now I want to try and get behind him, so I check the edge to see if there's a way down. It doesn't look like there is, so I just say screw it, and I'll use this little dip right here. Now very carefully go to the edge, put one into him, because I don't want to fall down, because either I'll die or he'll put one into me, and either way that's not going to be good. So I line up my shot for the last one. Sharpshooter gets the kill, and we win the game. For the post-game stats, we did 60,000 silver earned, ace tanker, 5,000 damage, 3,400 assisted, and we even blocked 2,200 damage with 4 kills. That'll be it for this video. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Central. You can also check out Clone Guy 72 and Space Bandit on YouTube. Links to their channels are in the description. I'm Gotta Dingy, and I'll see you next time.